Some persons may be asking the question, why was Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan granted bail a few days ago? Some persons have said, other people, when they're taken to court, you have to ask for formal bail application before bail is granted. Bail is not usually granted people so easily like that. So why was Natasha granted bail, right? So we're going to discuss all that. We delve into the position of the law on the issue of bail and possibly talk about why Senator Natasha was granted bail a few days ago when she was arraigned before the FCT High Court sitting in Abuja. This is Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. This is the husband. And this is Dr. Obi, the former Minister of Education during Olusegun Obasanjo's time. Obi had served in the World Bank before being invited to Nigeria to serve her motherland. Now, let's look at the types of offenses. It is usually the nature of offense that determines whether the court will grant bail or the court will refuse the grant of bail. So let's look at the types of offenses. There are basically three types of offenses known to law. One, misdemeanor. Two, simple offenses. Three, capital offenses, right? Now, traffic offenses come under misdemeanor. Traffic offenses. Someone drives without a license. Someone drives without number plates. Someone drives without the triangle, right? That is a traffic offense. If someone is convicted by the magistrate's court for that, it comes under misdemeanor. What are simple offenses? Simple offenses are offenses that attract less than 3 years imprisonment, right? Not more than 3 years imprisonment. Those ones are described as simple offenses. So it depends on the provision of the law. If the law says anybody who commits this offense shall be sentenced to between 1 to 2 years or between 1 to 3 years, that comes under simple offenses. The third one is capital offenses. Capital offenses are offenses that attract death penalty if someone is convicted, right? So kidnapping comes under this. Murder comes under this, right? And therefore, the nature of the offense determines the decision of the court to grant bail or refuse bail. Misdemeanor will always be granted bail. Simple offenses will always be granted bail. Capital offenses, bail will not be easily granted by the court. Most cases, bail for capital offenses are usually refused. The offense upon which Senator Natasha was charged to court falls under simple offenses because the punishment in the event of conviction is 2 years imprisonment. And it comes under simple offenses. So ordinarily, bail would be granted in such offenses. Now, this is how bail is considered, okay? For capital offenses, which is murder, kidnapping, and all that, bail is hardly granted. For simple offenses and misdemeanors, bail would always be granted. Senator Natasha's offense, the allegation against Senator Natasha is that she made allegations, criminal defamation of character of Senator Godswill Akpabio and Governor Yahaya Bello, right? And the punishment for that in the event of a conviction is 2 years imprisonment. I have said that already. And that automatically, qualifies her to be granted bail, just even as a matter of course, except there is a cogent reason to refuse her bail. This is a book on bail, application for bail, written by Keminudim. This book has been in the markets for not less than 7 years now, and it talks about the issues of bail in Nigeria. Now, other reasons that the courts would always consider in the grant of bail or in the refusal of bail. The fact that Senator Natasha is a serving senator is a good reason for the courts to consider in the determination of whether to grant her bail or not to grant her bail. The fact that she will have reliable persons to take her on bail is another consideration. that the courts it's another factor that the court would take into consideration. This is her husband, a high chief in Delta State. This is Dr. B, seated by her right here. These two persons are reliable persons to take the accused person on bail, and therefore one of the factors the court would have considered, right? The whole essence of bail is the assurance that the accused person will be present in court to stand trial. Once that guarantee is given to the court, bail can be granted to anybody. Why courts mostly refuse to grant bail or become hesitant to grant bail is when there is no guarantee about the availability of the person that has been accused to stand trial. In Senator Natasha's case, there is that guarantee that she's going to be there to stand trial. She has reasonable persons to take her on bail here. I'm sure that even fellow senators would even be willing to come and then take her on bail in the event that all these persons would not have been able to take her on bail. And so when these factors are put into consideration, bail would easily, and had indeed easily been granted. There are some questions. Was she expected to pay the 50 million naira to the court before leaving? Recall that she was granted bail in the sum of 50 million naira with one surety in like sum, and the surety must be somebody that has property within jurisdiction. So the question is, and lots of people are asking, and lots of people are also thinking, that she paid this money, 50 million naira, before leaving. Now here is it. This money is a bond. It's a promise. It is an undertaking by the surety that should Senator Natasha run away from justice, this money is going to be paid. So the law does not require that you pay this money before Natasha leaves the courtroom or before any other person that is accused leaves the courtroom or the court premises. It is a bond. Once you sign the bond, you have promised to pay this money should the senator, escape from justice. But so long as Natasha is available to stand trial, Natasha is not expected to pay this money. And if at the end of trial she's found not to be guilty, she's acquitted and discharged, she does not also need to pay this money at all. So this money is usually not paid. If you go to a court and you are asked to pay this money before you're granted bail, try and report that matter to the registrar of the court, right? Because it is not a requirement of the law that this be paid. Like I said, it's a bond. It's a promise to pay in the event of any escape. Don't forget that the bail sum is never expected to be paid before the accused person leaves the court, except where the court specifically says so, right? There are instances where the court will say, I hereby grant you bail in the sum of 100 million naira. That money should be deposited with the registrar of the court before you are allowed to go. If that is the case, then you have to pay. But that is very rare. It doesn't happen, quite often. In this case, Senator Natasha was not expected to pay, and I'm sure, certainly, she never paid. The other question is, will the property of the surety be verified? This is the house, expectedly, of the person that is standing surety for the senator. Would this be verified? The answer is yes. The officials of the court will have to visit this property and verify the documents of title of this property and be sure that even this property is in existence before it will be cleared. Once the judge is satisfied that this has been verified to belong to the surety, then that requirement of the law has been satisfied, and then the person will be released on bail almost with immediate effect. The other question is, but could Natasha have been granted bail on self-recognizance by the judge here? She's a senator. The answer is yes. Bail is at the discretion of the judge. So the law allows the judge to decide to grant the accused person bail on self-recognizance. The judge places the condition, the parameters for the grant of bail. So the judge could just say, I have seen you, you're well behaved, you were in court even before I came in, You did not stress the court for the courts to start looking for you. And so we consider you to be a responsible person. You are also a serving senator. For that reason, this court hereby grants you bail on self-recognizance. No surety is required. No money, no bond, no bail sum, no deposit of title documents, and so on. Self-recognizance, you go home. So the court could have still granted that. Now, in doing so, a number of factors are usually considered, such as the status of the accused person in society. In this case, Senator Natasha is a serving senator, and therefore, she rightly qualifies to be granted bail, to have been granted bail on self-recognizance. With this and other factors, the availability of there's just that expectation that she's not going to run away. She can be granted bail on self-recognizance. But don't forget that bail is still at the discretion of the judge here, right? The presiding judge here. There's another question that some persons have been asking. Can women take anybody on bail? Can a woman take anybody on bail? These are women. These are adult women seated here, right? There's nobody here that is below 18, right? The question is, can a woman take another person on bail? The answer is yes. Nothing stops the practice of a woman taking another on bail. Nothing stops the person in law. The practice by the police, for instance, that women cannot take people on bail. If you go to the police station now, policemen will not allow a woman, most instances, to take another on bail, right? That practice is unlawful. It's an archaic practice. And I hope the police will not continue in that practice, right? For the law, for the courts, women are never restricted from taking accused persons on bail. There is a law called Administration of Criminal Justice Act in Nigeria. There is also Administration of Criminal Justice law applicable in the states of the Federation. This very law specifically allows women to take accused persons on bail. So, Dr. Obi Ezekwesili, right, could as well have taken Senator Natasha on bail. All what is required is that the person that is to sign as a surety must be a responsible person. Obi, former staff of the World Bank, former minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, a very visible person in national discourse in Nigeria, eminently qualifies to take anybody on bail. So Obi could have also been qualified to take Senator Natasha on bail. And I'm sure Dr. Obi has, I'm sure, a property in Abuja. And therefore, whatever would have been the requirement, she would have been able to tick the box. So the answer is that women are not prohibited from taking accused persons on bail as sureties. Can bail already granted be revoked? This is Senator Natasha, certainly in her office in the National Assembly. Bail has been granted. She's home now. She will attend court from home, right? Can that bail be revoked? The answer is yes. Bail can be revoked at any time. If the accused person abuses the bail, bail can be revoked. Now, let me explain. Bail is a privilege. It is not a right per se. Okay? It's a right, but it is not the kind of right that cannot be curtailed or restricted or tampered with. It's a privilege. And therefore, once bail is granted to any person, that person is expected to abide by the terms of the bail, and the person will not jump bail. For instance, if Senator Natasha refuses to go to court and refuses to also give cogent and verifiable reason why she's not present in court, okay, bail can be revoked for that reason. But in Natasha's case, her bail can be revoked if it is abused. But by her status as a serving senator and lawyer, Natasha is a lawyer. Natasha was called to the Nigerian bar in 2005. So effectively, Natasha is 20 years a lawyer. So that's a senior lawyer by every calculation. That's a senior lawyer. The money that she pays to the NBA every year for her annual practicing fee, right? And also for the annual bar conference is huge. That's because of her age at the bar. She's 20 years at the bar. So the fact that she's a senator, she's also a lawyer, is something that makes it unlikely that she is ever going to abuse the terms of the bail, and therefore bail is certainly not going to be revoked in this very matter. What do Nigerian citizens want in this matter? Speedy trial is what is needed in the case. A maximum of 3 months can be used in determining this matter. It's a straightforward matter. A maximum of 3 months can be used in hearing the matter to conclusion and then judgment delivered. Note, however, that most courts will go on annual vacation. Most courts in Nigeria will go on annual vacation from the month of July, which is next month, while others will go on vacation in early August to return in October. This might occasion some long adjournments to accommodate the vacation, right? But whatever be the case, Nigerian citizens want to hear this matter being determined as soon as possible. This is an international matter. Remember that Senator Natasha had also gone international. She had told the whole world what she was going through, and the whole world is also interested in the matter. And Nigerian citizens want this matter to be decided as quickly as possible. This is Charlie Boy Oputa, right? You might be wondering why he's been brought here. This is the area father. There's nobody that doesn't know Charlie Boy Oputa or has not heard about Charlie Boy Oputa. An interesting personality. But there's a reason why he's brought here. Charlie Boy had a father, Justice Chukwudufe Oputa, who was a justice of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, one of the very excellent judicial minds in Nigeria. In one of his judgments, he made a pronouncement. What did he say? He said, justice is a three-way traffic. Three-way traffic. 1, 2, 3. Justice for the victim of the crime, justice for the accused person, and justice for society. In this Natasha's case, these 3 factors are present. The persons that have complained about Natasha, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and Governor Yahaya Bello, they are seen in law to be the victims. So they also demand justice. Justice must be served to them. Natasha is seen in law to be the accused person. Justice must also be served to her. Society is also interested in this matter, and there is need also to deliver justice for the benefit of society. I do hope that everybody has the best of time in court. We do hope that this matter is decided expeditiously. We also hope that everybody will be treated fairly in this matter. Many thanks for watching. Do remember to subscribe to the channel and also share with your friends and loved ones.